In almost every city in America, on every corner, there's a church. Who in this room does pay taxes? It may shock you to know that churches in our country are not required to pay taxes. I hope to inform you through this speech and persuade you that churches of all denominations should pay taxes. I was raised in the church myself growing up, so I have witnessed what I'm going to say firsthand. The number of churches in America is astounding. It's incredible, and obviously they are not going anywhere. In recent years, there was a steady decline in the amount, but that's not the case anymore. In an article by CatalystConference.com by the Christian Post, the total number of U.S. churches is no longer in decline, based on research from Ed Stetzer and Warren Bird, revealed in their new book. 3,500 churches close their doors every year, but as much as 4,000 churches are opening their doors. With that many churches, it almost certainly there's going to be attendees, and their numbers are astounding in their own right. According to the 2014 edition of the Large Church Salary Report, the typical large American church seats 800 worshipers and offers 5 weekly services in 2 different campuses. With this many services and that many members, think of the amount of offerings and tithes that are given at each and every service. With this many churches, this much money, these many members, it almost makes sense that they would pay taxes and it would benefit our economy, right? However, with the charitable status that is automatically granted to most churches, this is not the norm in our country. According to churchesandtaxes.procon.org, going along with the Tariff Act of 1894, tax exemptions were provided to corporations, companies, or associations organized and conducted solely for charitable, religious, or education purposes. Churches are further granted this exemption status as they are automatically given that right, and they do not have to provide any paperwork proving that they are charitable. They are placed restrictions upon, but however, this is rarely, if ever, investigated by governmental organizations. This leads to a question. What do churches actually spend their money on that makes them charitable in our government's eyes? There are several musts, of course, that must be spent for a church to keep its doors open. This is building costs, whether that be rent or mortgage, and utilities such as education, electricity, water, garbage, etc. Not all churches do have building costs, though when they do borrow, such as mortgage, their debt repayment totals 5% of their budget. Personnel to run the church is also, of course, a must. And it's also necessary, with most churches an average of 40% of their budget goes to staff pay. But that still leaves a question. What is their giving responsibilities or charitable organizations that are considered? Mission work is a part of church life that is considered the most charitable, whether that be at home here in the United States or abroad in other countries. However, when looking at the church's budget as a whole, only 16% of their budget actually goes to missions. This percentage is completely embarrassing, especially when it comes to what businesses contribute to charitable organizations or donations every year. In an article authored by Derek Barris in 2014, Walmart, for instance, gives about $1.75 billion in food aid to charities each year, or 28 times of all the money allotted for charity by the United Methodist Church, and almost double what the Latter-day Saints Church has given in the last 25 years. If big companies like this can pay out big money to distributors and employees for services and products to run their company, and are still able to donate big money, since then it would only make more sense economically for churches that don't have any of these responsibilities to contribute the same amount or even more, or do something so simple as pay taxes and benefit the entire population of our country economically. In conclusion, who really does it benefit for churches to be tax exempt? Especially since charitable donations only represent a small percentage of their budget. With more members and churches that are in our country, it would make more economic good sense than it would benefit the churches in a bad way.